Yep, it is that time of the week where all my loyal fans check in on me and see what I've been up to all week, what I've been working on or what I haven't been. Whew, I've been busy. Got a little bit done. It's about 8:30 at night. I'm tired, ready for a shower. Need one. Anyways, so what I got done this week, we pulled some air tanks off the parts truck. We got them and a bunch of other parts ready for a trip to the Sandblaster. Took them there the other day. Then we unwrapped and started assembling the transmission. Got some hoses put on it. Cleaned up the shifter tower that goes on top of the transmission. And but this one, as soon as I get done with it, I'll blow it off, peel the tape off, and we'll go install it on the transmission. And the last thing that we did was got the shifter gearbox put together. And I'll bring you back when it's time to put that in that and that in that and button it all up. The little guy with the shifter coming on the top of it that we had remachined and everything. So come along for the ride if you want to. If you don't, I understand that too. Whew, that's it. I'm in the old pasture. Go take the air tanks off the semi. You gonna help? You gonna bite my Dodge? Got some tools. I got the old girl running pretty good. Much better than she was. He wants fed. Losing daylight. Story of my life. Let's try first. Remember the lights were all blinky? I've been trying to go through and fix the grounds when I have time, which is not very much, but I got rid of the blinky there. About all I got to go through now, there's my donkeys. About all I got to go through now is the electrical system in relation to the lights. There she is. Oh, now my donkeys want fed. Gotta pick up some sticks. I'll introduce that Monte Carlo there to you later, some other point in time. We got a family history there with those. Alrighty then. Run over some sticks here. Okay. Okay. So I got to label all the lines that come into this, both of these air tanks. And then I gotta bust the straps loose, which are there and there. I'm gonna mark where every single one of these hoses go that I know that I can. Like I have no idea where that went. So that when I pull it off, I can compare them to the ones that I took off my other truck. So I'm gonna get some tools out and just set you up, you can watch. Losing light fast now. Got everything kind of traced and labeled. I'm recording this A, so that in the future I can come back and look at it, and B, so y'all can watch me struggle with something. Okay, that goes to the rear. This was not connected. I assume transmission. That little fella goes up to the brake pedal. This one wire sensor in the cab floor, which I suspect is the low brake pressure warning sensor or something related to that. This guy is just a crossover. Sorry, I'm not watching where I'm recording here. This one was disconnected, but it comes up here to the top. Probably was a supply line, I would guess. This one just wraps around through some kind of a T connection with nothing connected, through a splice, and goes to this big distribution block mounted on the back of the fuel tank rail. My truck does not have that, so I don't know. That's a 78, 79 difference or what. Fortunately, all the lines on this truck are plastic as far as the air is related, with the only exception of this guy here. There's a radiator. This is a big old engine bay. Could be a good spare. It's got big old huge connections, so it's not a low flow radiator. That's the shifter. We're about to put this unit together in the truck we're building, and just like the other one, it's got quite a bit of slop in it as well. Sorry, shaking the camera all over the place. There's the ether setup. I don't have that either. Look how much grease and oil is in this thing. I'm hoping I can sell this frame. It's the tall, whatever it is, 15, 16 inch tall frame. And it's appears to be in excellent shape, so hopefully somebody will snag it. Otherwise, it's probably gonna go to the crusher, because I can't have this sitting back here. I don't want to mow around it and have critters living under it and in it. That's the one we just repainted last week for my truck. All right, I'm gonna cut a bunch of lines real quick. I'll set you up so you can watch. For the most part, you can be looking at my butt or my head. I don't know. It is cold out here, below freezing. This truck even came with 2 batteries. I'm sure they're dead. Let's see if these air lines will cut. I'm gonna go through and put all of them on my truck. So, alrighty then. So I got my vice grips on the back of there. For some reason, they put a real skinny nut right there, so you can't get a wrench on it and a ratchet. This is easier with the fuel tanks off. I'm gonna try to stay out of your way. Turning both nuts at the same time. Just fine, I reckon. The reason I got to get these off is I got to send whichever combination of tanks I'm using to the Sandblaster this week. So I don't want to put the main fuel tanks on until I get these ready as well. I mean, it really doesn't matter that much, I suppose, since the air tanks aren't mounted inboard of the fuel tanks no more. Like you already know, mine are easy to get to now, way up about where y'all are sitting. Okay, so is that a 5/8? No, just super loose. Ugh. Where's my little hands? I don't have no little hands. Okay, and it should be that one. Okay. All right, well, as you can see, they're pretty loose. I'm gonna climb in there and see if I can get them out. Or fall in there. That's possible. It's like deja vu. Alright, one. Okay. The other one. Let's see. Okay. Now what am I fixing? Chain pull drain on it that I did not see. Okay. Oh well. And this guy. See if I can get hit in the face with this one. This is what I wanted to show you. That looks an awful lot like a hole used to be on top of there, but it's right directly on top of the tank. That's just weird to me. You would think it'd rust out at the bottom. Bottom seems spotless. I don't know. I'll fetch a couple of tools here. Bag all this junk up. Get out here, I'm cold. Let's see how the old Dodge starts. Pretty good. This shifter takes some getting used to. I took it on its first road drive the other day, and I thought there was a major problem in the transmission because I couldn't hit third or fourth gear to save my life. And once I figured out what I was doing wrong, I was pushing the gear selector way too far over. I was trying to find a gear where there wasn't a gear. Once I figured that out, it went okay. Hey fellas, what I got to do right now is run this, I don't know exactly what the thing is called. It's basically the shifter tower adapter, I guess you would call it. Bolts on top of the transmission, and this shaft here goes out to your shifter, well, to the other end of that. I'm just gonna run it through there just to kind of give it a uniform coat. It's kind of got some baked on dirt and stuff on it and tiny remnants of paint here and there. Just wanted it to look nice and uniform, so I'm just gonna run that through there. And then the end plate for it, let's see, I don't know why my light's on. The end plates for it's all rusty, and the end plate for this guy, just gonna run them both through there, and the hardware for both of them. So compressor would be running if I let y'all watch, because it's gonna take a while. So I'll just go ahead and blast them. Those I'm gonna prime and paint, and but this one I'll just, as soon as I get done with it, I'll blow it off, peel the tape off, and we'll go install it on the transmission. What do you dudes think of that? That was literally like 6 or 7 minutes in the bead blasting cabinet. Just got it all evened out, got rid of the dirty look to it. It's gonna look sharp. And it's aluminum, so it's not gonna rust. Also did my covers. Got a pretty good etch on them. Hit the front sides a lot more. These I'm just gonna paint. Well, I'm gonna prime them first and then paint, and then the hardware, all 8 bolts for them. This one's got a grease zerk. That's the end of this guy. Well, let's go outside and unwrap the transmission, which has been wrapped because this top's been open. And we'll go ahead and put some silicone in I lost the check ball detent springs that go underneath it here. Anyway, so I had to buy some brand new ones from Eaton. They're pretty cheap. Can't believe I lost the old ones. Actually, I can. Well, let's go outside. So all this plastic has been on here since I painted it. Wanted to let it get good and cured out before I got in here and mess with it. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut it. The majority of it out of the way. Aluminum foil. Okay, you know this stuff cut out of the way. Look at that pretty transmission. Looks like it's held up well. So before I put the top back on the shifter, I had to get all the tape off the studs, get all the tape off this stuff, and I need to put a couple of air lines back on. See which end moves. That's my swivel end. These are brand new. Never had air through them though. Put these on back in the, when was that? Spring, I guess, probably. Okay, where'd my wrench go? See if I can do this. Now I gotta start shifting into, we're working with some finished products here and I need to make sure that I don't tear them up mode. My neighbors are shooting guns back in there, so if you hear a burst of gunfire, it's not the Chicago City Christmas parade. I'm sorry, shouldn't have said that. Okay. Okay, which one was this? This one was, says T, okay. I don't see no T. T where? Which one were you? Oh, top, I get it. Okay, so where did the third one go? Oh boy, that one will be fun. Alright, so I got this little guy, probably out of your shot, but basically a distribution valve assembly. Not sure what the actual name of it is. Got that kind of temporarily just stuck up there. I need to run a tap through the threads and put new hardware in it. I've got a some more stuff for my zinc plating kit that I'm waiting on, that I'm gonna plate a bunch of my hardware with. So some of the hardware I'm using on here is not gonna be permanent. I'm gonna put proper coated stuff on there, not use junk from the hardware store or the crappy rusty original. It's gonna be a miracle when I get this put back together if everything works like it's supposed to. If I don't have lines crossed somewhere. Anytime you take something apart and then a long time later you put it back together, guess what? Okay, now I've got this guy. I'm gonna do the top one, then we'll put the top on the transmission, and then it's gonna be dark. Okay, last line. These are where those springs go that I lost. Got brand new ones in my pocket. I got some oil I'm gonna pour all over the sliders and down the detent holes, and then we'll be done. And you want these on before that happens. Trust me on that. Looks good though, don't it? In spite of all the dust, see? This stuff's all dust. Most of it's fragmented primer and paint from the plastic and paper I just tore off of it. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna go get the gear shift stuff. See, I told you it was getting dark. I wasn't kidding. But we're getting this on here before it gets dark. Okay, sweet. Now I got me some oil. We're gonna dribble off down in here. Ooh. Careful. Ooh. Almost put too much. Don't want to dribble it off where I'm trying to work. Let's get some on that check valve. Check ball, rather. A little bit too much in that one hole. It's probably gonna right out of there. Okay, just put a little spot of it here, or a whole lot of it. Get everything all looby-doobied. Alright. See, I guess I need to get some of that gear oil out of that hole there. Put a little too much in. Alright. Okay, now I got a mess to clean up. Bear with me. I got a tiny bit of paint thinner on these rags. Well, that's an adequate cleaning agent. Okay. Feels pretty dry to me. Put my springs in their holes. One, two, and trace. And I already put gasket silicone stuff on this housing. So let me get the nuts. Not cheer. Just go ahead and drop one on the ground. It's a good place for it. Oh gosh. I've been bending over too many times today. All right. Speaking of that, I'm gonna pay some taxes soon. Okay. Let me get the housing. Better not put that there or it'll be in my way. So my gear shift deal needs to be centered. Let's see. This guy needs to be about there, I would say. Let's see. And I definitely can't see it very good. Let's see. Say there. Cannot see because it's dark. Y'all get a flashlight for me? Not sure if that went too far. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm back. If that shift rod ain't where it's supposed to be, I'm gonna have 13 neutrals, which I don't need. Okay, it's where it's supposed to be. Thought it was. Alright, let's start getting these nuts on here. Boy, it feels good finally getting to the point where stuff is something. Some individual part is feeling like a completed project. Because for every hour you've watched, there's been a lot more time than that I've worked. I guarantee you. Okay. Pull this down evenly and smoothly. Coming right on down. Boy, this thing looks pretty good, don't it? Guess I can toot my own horn occasionally. Y'all won't object too much, I hope, if I toot my own horn a tiny bit. Okay. Excellent. Well, it's starting to look better, you know, from about here to about here. It turned out pretty nice, I think. As dusty as everything is, it still looks pretty good. That piece I got to take off, sandblast, and get all that stuff cleaned up. Those bolts are just kind of holding it in place. All right, gentlemen. This batch of stuff is about to go to my sandblasting place. I've got 19 billion brackets. All of those go to the frame and hold hoses and whatnot. I've got a 4.5 foot long shaft with U-joints on the end. That connects the shifter to the transmission. And I've got a bracket that goes up and braces the exhaust and intake stack. That fella right there is aluminum, as my fans across the pond would call it. This guy mounts to that, and then there's a bigger one that mounts to the other end that I don't have off yet. Now the air tank situation. You recognize the black one as one I pulled off the parts truck shortly, a little while ago. This one is one of the original tanks. So you remember that big patch on top of that one that I pulled off the back of the parts truck. That was, in fact, I didn't knock the Bondo off of it, or JB weld, but it definitely is a hole in the top of the tank. I have no earthly idea how there would be a big hole right here. As you can see, this one is spotless right there. So I don't know if they had a battery up there and it drained on it or what, but fortunately, this original tank is the better of the two that I had, and it is the primary air tank. There's a divider wall right there in the middle of this tank, so this is a unique tank. I will have to heat it up and straighten those two deals there, and it has a couple of small dings in it, but overall it's in pretty good shape. So that's my primary air tank. This one is one off the parts truck, and it's in very, very, very good condition. No dents, damage, anything else. So what I got to do now is pull all these lines off of both tanks and duct tape the crap out of the fittings and make sure that I have labeled what everything goes to. I'll go ahead and get that on the camera shot here. This one I don't know because it wasn't connected. One wire sensor and crossover. Okay. Normally I would pull the U-joints out of a shaft before I send it out to blasting, but one of these has a ton of slop, and if I'm replacing one, I'll just replace both. So I'm just gonna replace both them joints when I get it back. So when we see these again, they're gonna be silver, bare metal. Alrighty then, so what we got going on here is our shifter assembly, our gearbox that we had to have completely remachined, and a new bronze, slightly oversized bushing made for. It's painted, ready to go together. We also have a snap ring, some other little springs and parts, and a lock pin that all go on that. Then we have a new cross pin, goes here, which goes right through that little guy there. This is brand new. This is brand new. Both of them have been heat treated, so they look a little bit discolored, but they have a tremendous amount of stress on them, so went ahead and heat treated them. I still got to buy the new 13-speed shifter knob. I like this one that has the 1, 2, 3, all 3 positions on it. Also have a seal for the end of this, and that's what we're going to start with. Put that little seal in there, and then we'll set this gear shift housing aside for a moment. I like to use the right stuff here. Just put just the thinnest amount on the outer seal surface there. Basically, all that'll do is lock it in place, you know, keep it from spinning, essentially is really all it'll do. If it's a application where you actually have a liquid in there, like an oil of some type, it'll help keep the stuff from seeping around. Typically a seal like this, sometimes what can happen is you'll get a oil seep around it, and then it'll spin, and then you'll just have a massive oil leak. However, this one just seals grease, so it doesn't really matter. Putting it in there. Let's see, here we go. I can probably do this on this box. I'm not sure. Yeah, there she goes. Perfect. I also have some grease, so I'm just going to go ahead real good and grease the whole inside of this thing, the bronze bushing and the seal all at the same time. Make sure that I get a bunch behind the lip seal. Excuse me. If you have a Transtar or any other Cabover that has a gearbox assembly like this, this is a critical part. You have to grease this, or you have catastrophic failure like this box had. You have to go and look back at my old videos if you want to see that. There's a video on how I took all this apart. Okay, seal is in. Now what I have to do is I have to take this guy, this guy, this guy, and this little fella, and they all slide down over the top of here. They compress with the spring, and then there's a little hole right there that pin gets driven into. It'd be extremely difficult probably for me to figure out a way to set you up where you could watch that. So I'm gonna be fumbling around and my hands are gonna be all in the way anyways. So I think what I'll do is off camera, I'll put all these guys on that. All right, so I got all these on there. I did not put the pin in. I think it's gonna be easier just to assemble this whole thing and then put the pin on after this is done and set on the ground. Anyways, what we will do at this point in time is grease the inside of that real well, right where this ball rides. So I say real well, I'm just gonna put enough on it where it's not going to gall before I grease the thing. It's got a grease zerk fitting that goes right in the end of this cover plate, which I painted and haven't put on it yet. So when I get the thing done, I'll grease it until it comes out both ends. That way. But with this here, I know that I've got grease in the areas that I need it in beforehand. So I know there's no chance of it being dry. Okay. So first thing we're gonna do is slide our new shift rod assembly. This piece is old from the old piece. We just cut the weld, put in a new piece, remachined it, drilled the hole where it needs to be. So this part's old, this part's new. So hopefully there's enough taper that it'll go through that seal okay. Bushing's pretty tight. Okay, I'm gonna grease the inside of this ball here where the end of this rides. Again, so to make sure nothing is dry. I might have to put a piece of paper on the seal if it looks like it wants to push it out. See, it's trying to. All right, I gotta turn it around so I can see it. Oh, there it goes. No problemo. That's gonna be good. Thing is real snug. Okay, so we're gonna try to center this in the bottom, as you can see. So what happens now is the shifter drops down, and this ball goes right into that socket. So I just gotta remember to hold this in its correct orientation. Pin go straight through that way. I'm gonna go ahead and put some grease in this as well. I want nothing to be dry. Okay. All right, I can't see the hole because the camera or the table is in the way. All right, so is that in the ball? Yes, that is in the ball. So I need to maneuver the pin in. Okay, that went super easy. Okay, now I need to apply the snap ring. This little fella, which, how am I gonna get it in there? I should have put that in first. Yep, I should have. So, good thing I'm not calling this a how-to video, huh? So that little fella's gotta come back out because this little fella forgot to put the snap ring on first. Okay, try this again. See, I told you I ain't no expert. I only took one of these, or no, two of these apart, and both of them was over a year ago. So where, oh, there it goes. Perfect. Now I can put the snap ring in. And the detent part of it goes right over the end of the pin on one side. Gotta be careful with this thing. It's a little compromised from rust. Imagine that. Okay, come on up, sweetheart. Oh, you're almost there. There you go. Beautiful. Let me wipe some grease off my hands. Grease on my table. But that is okay. All right. I'm gonna put a little bit of grease around this, just keep some dust out. There's also a seal that goes around the top of this, which I don't have yet. Again, some of that, what I've told you about trying to find parts for old machines. It's pretty challenging, to say the least, sometimes. Okay, so this will keep it from squeaking or anything. Man, this thing is gonna be so much tighter than it was before. Alrighty then. That just kind of rides right down on there. Now I've got to set this gizmo down on the floor. And I have to squish this down and pop this cross pin in. So, I might be able to do it right here. Nope. Be right back. Well, that was actually pretty easy. Got the cross pin drove in there. Got it all assembled. Like I said, I'll pack this thing full of grease, and I'll put the end plate on with the greaser in, and I'll just pump that dude full of grease. I gotta tell you, this thing moves so much better than it did before. It feels really good. There's zero slop. If I can't drive this thing, once I go through putting new U-joints in the shaft, rebuilding the bushings in the top of the transmission, rebuilding this, making new shafts for all that. If I can't shift after that, I just can't shift. Well, Lord, excuse me. Anyways, I think we'll bring this video to a close here for this week on this little project. It's a good stopping point. I'll be going to pick up the parts at the Sandblaster pretty quick, and you know what'll come next. Don't worry, I'm not gonna make you suffer through a bunch more priming and painting. I know you've seen a lot of that probably. Painting you probably don't mind. Priming's boring, but so this is a big win here. I can't wait to get the new 13-speed knob. It's gonna be something special, eh? Well, as always, I appreciate you all, and I'm working on a little, just a fun video for a 2,000 subscriber special. So I've been doing that for about a week now, just piddling around. So that'll probably come out next week. So it's probably going to be 2 weeks before you see another semi video. That'll give me some time to catch up and get some recording done. Guess I'm gonna sign off now, take a shower, and go to bed. So see you guys later.